Oscar Piastri had an almost perfect weekend in China as he enjoyed his first ever pole position in Formula 1 before converting it into a Grand Prix win. That was preceded by a second-place finish in the sprint race, and he came away with 32 championship points, a vast improvement on a disappointing Australian Grand Prix, where McLaren used team orders to hold him back before a trip to the grass late in the race demoted him to a 9th-place finish. It was a commanding comeback, and reminded everyone that he isn't to be written off against his more experienced teammate. There has been plenty of talk this year about Lando Norris and the Drivers' Championship, but that does a disservice to his teammate. Piastri has made it clear that he isn't at McLaren to play nice with his British teammate. But are McLaren's title challenges going to come under threat from an unlikely place? Today, I'll check it all out, so don't go anywhere. When Oscar Piastri finally secured his first pole position in Formula 1 last weekend in Shanghai, at the 48th time of asking, you'd be mistaken for thinking it was Kimi Raikkonen in the car. There was no scream of celebration, no outpouring of joy, just his signature calm and composed self. It is a trait that has become a defining feature of Piastri's driving. In his 2 seasons in Formula 1, he's displaying the calm of a 10-season veteran. Piastri isn't a driver that gets heated in the car, at least not that we can see, and with that comes composure. Oscar almost never makes a mistake, something that you don't expect from a driver with less than 50 races under their belt. That trip off track while having slick tyres on a wet track at the incredibly challenging Australian Grand Prix was a rare exception, and a costly one. But he kept his cool, kept his car running, and managed to rejoin the track and recover to a points finish. It was an outstanding recovery, all things said. Piastri's calm is interesting when compared to his teammate Norris. Lando was set up to be Verstappen's challenger last season. It was a fight that was never really on, but after 2023, Formula 1 would have backed a 3-legged donkey to challenge Verstappen just to create some excitement. Perhaps the media attention got to Norris, but at times he looked to crack under the pressure. Verstappen is a fierce competitor and at times crossed the line in 2024, but it got to Norris, who made mistakes and expressed his frustrations throughout a number of races. Despite never having been in that position in F1, it's hard to imagine Piastri feeling the pressure in the same way Norris did. "I've always been someone that's been relaxed, but also strong," Oscar said to The Times after the Chinese Grand Prix. The calm and relaxed nature, yeah, it comes somewhat naturally, but there is deliberate focus on it as well. I view it as a strength of mine over others. Clearly, Piastri is well aware that his steeliness is an advantage that can be used. In Australia, he applied increasing pressure to teammate Norris until his team decided they needed to step in to avoid an incident. From lap 20 until lap 30, when McLaren called Oscar off in the challenging conditions, he took an average of 2.5 tenths out of his teammate every lap. The same thing was happening before Oscar's ill-fated trip to the grass as well. Oscar isn't a driver who's going to be collared by a more experienced teammate, or a team that, understandably, want to back one driver over the other. After all, it is easier for one of your drivers to win a world championship if they aren't fighting the other. Oscar played the role of the number 2 driver last season, giving up positions and points to his teammates' desperate pursuit of Verstappen. There has already been some talk of McLaren backing Lando for the World Championship this season, but Oscar isn't letting that happen. A crucial part of that has been the influence of Mark Webber, the 9-times Red Bull race winner, who is his manager. Last season, as McLaren transformed into a Constructors' title-winning team, Webber's influence from his own career in a dominant Red Bull team alongside Sebastian Vettel came to the fore. That was not just beneficial for me, but beneficial for the whole team to learn how to get to that level, Piastri said. Behind the scenes, he's making sure that my contracts are what they should be, just the nuances that you don't even think about until you've experienced it. This month, Piastri, with the help of Webber, signed a new contract with McLaren, keeping him at the team until at least 2028. Christian Horner, the Red Bull team principal, was among his list of admirers and said he would prefer to sign him over Norris, but Piastri wasn't swayed. During Webber's time alongside Sebastian Vettel, he was regularly relegated to the number 2 role. The multi-2-1 debacle in Malaysia in 2013 summed up Webber's relationship with his team and teammate perfectly. Vettel ignored team orders and overtook his teammate for the win. He knew that he was safe from repercussions because he was Horner's golden boy. Webber would never let the same thing happen to Oscar. Of course, if they thought that McLaren would ever try to hold Piastri back from a title challenge when he was still a contender, then Piastri probably would have moved teams. But Oscar is confident that he can get the better of his teammate, as he did at the Chinese Grand Prix. "If I wasn't confident in that, then maybe I wouldn't have signed this long contract," he said. "I'm certainly not in the sport just to make up the numbers. I'm here because I want to become a world champion. Over the last couple of seasons, I have proven to myself, more than anyone, that I've got what it takes. I don't think I'm at the peak of what I'm capable of, but I'm trying my absolute best to get there as quickly as possible. I know when I have my best weekends, they're good enough to beat the very best." In China, he showed that in the best possible way, by beating his teammate and taking away 32 championship points to Norris's 19, bringing the gap between the two back down to 10 points. Of course, it's a little early to be counting their points totals. There are 22 more races to come this year. But Piastri's clear. Last year he played ball because Norris had the numerical advantage. This year won't be the same. He has the pace, he has the mindset, and he's going after the points to make sure that McLaren can never ask him to move out of the way for Lando again. Obviously though, there are 18 other cars on the grid and Oscar and Lando could come under pressure from elsewhere. But before I talk about that, if you're enjoying the video and want to catch all the news and analysis from this weekend's Japanese Grand Prix, then make sure to give the video a like and subscribe to F1 Reverse. In terms of preseason predictions for title challengers, most people would have put Ferrari up alongside McLaren and Verstappen. Very few, if anyone, would have had George Russell and Mercedes in the conversation. But there he is, sat in third place in the Drivers' Championship with 2 podium finishes to his name. Mercedes have been buoyed by their promising start to the new season with a much more predictable car. They head into this weekend's Japanese Grand Prix holding second place in the Constructors' Championship, though 21 points behind early pace-setters and title favourites McLaren. It is a shocking turnaround in form from previous seasons, and if the form continues, you have to wonder how long Hamilton will tolerate the Ferrari pit wall before he starts regretting his decision to cut his contract short. Behind the scenes, all the teams have started working on the vital first round of upgrades, which will likely hit around the Miami Grand Prix in 4 races' time. Andrew Chauvelin set some pretty lofty goals for Mercedes' first upgrades, targeting a performance increase to get them on par with McLaren. "We're working hard to try and bring development to the car because, as I said, we think that we need to close the gap to McLaren in particular. It's just exciting to start a season with a car that's working well, that the drivers are enjoying driving. It's much more predictable, and we're looking forward to the remainder." It would be a shock to see George Russell mount a serious title challenge against the McLaren drivers or Max Verstappen. Considering Mercedes' car development has been as effective as a chocolate teapot over the past few seasons, for them to turn up at the start of this year with a podium-worthy car is an astonishing step. It also shows that they may have finally gotten to the bottom of what was causing them so many issues over the past 3 years, and perhaps they can actually develop this car into a title challenger. If you had to pick a driver between Lando and Oscar for this season's champion, who would it be? And do you think the Mercedes can seriously challenge for a championship this season? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and if you want to support the channel, then make sure to check out our merch store at f1reverse.com to get yourself some sweet F1 inspired gear. Until next time, drive safe and bye for now.